guys, Inside Pro Cycling TV coming back at you as promised with Michael Terraferma. He's the owner and designer of Terraferma Cycles, and his website, by the way, I want you to write this down, is www.terrafermacycles.com. Terraferma is with 2 R's. Well, the last time we were with Michael, he was showing us about the jig, which is where actually the whole thing gets created originally. So why don't we take it from there, Michael, and what happens from that point?
All right, we left off that we had set our jig almost like a phantom bike that hasn't been created, but all the angles and all the lengths are there. So then the next thing what we need to do, we need to start mitering our tubes. For example, this is your standard mitering machine. They come, there's a million of them. This one happens to be horizontal. I also have a vertical over here, but this is specifically designated for the main triangle. So what you would do, you would take your, this happens to be a top tube, you would take a top tube in there, insert it, and this is your typical hole saw that will do the cutting. So you would dial in according to our drawing back there, either 52 or 53 or whatever angle it needs to be, and you just pretty much drive it in there, and you end up with a mitered tube. Once both ends are mitered according to length, then you would do that for your top tube and for your down tube. Your head tube is just going to be a straight tube. From there, you would move on to your chain stays and your seat stays. This happens to be a vertical mill. Again, there's many types of vertical mills. This is just one that I happen to have. And you would take your length and you would cut your chain stays accordingly, and you would do the same for the seat stays. Once everything is cut, you would pretty much assemble it in the jig again, and then you would do your welding, and then from there you do your final machining of your head tube, your bottom bracket, and your seat tube reaming, and you pretty much end up with a final frame that would sort of go in like that. This frame happens to be unpainted, of course, but like I said, you have your miters and you have your phantom bike, and this is what you end up with.
Now, I see that you also do, like, for example, the internal tubes, the braze-ons for the bottle cages, the braze-on for the derailleur. Now, this is a lug frame which has very sophisticated lugging, like it used to be at one time. One of the things that Michael does too is like traditional frames. You know, he'll do something in carbon, he'll do something in titanium, but he'll also do some of the real traditional bikes that collectors get and things like that. I think that right here we got a bike that's pretty much a collector's edition.
Yeah, this was a bike that was done for the Bicycle Quarterly. That happens to be my own personal lugged bike.
Now this is actually, I mean, I remember when bikes were like this. I mean, it wasn't a long time ago, for me anyway. And this was state of the art. I mean, we're talking about you know, wraparound seat stays. We're talking about completely miter lugs. I mean, this is a work of art. This is a company in I believe it was in England or in
Bob Jackson did a lot.
Bob Jackson did these. And now this is all completely set up with Suntour, which is a component manufacturer that disappeared. It was a Japanese Suntour, right?
Japanese,
It had the bar end shifters, which now I was talking to a friend of mine, which he had never, he's a big rider nowadays, but he had never seen bar end shifters, which at one time those were great. Sprinters loved that because you could actually shift while you were on the, you know, in the last kilometer or so. This was well before, you know, the shifters and the handlebars, in the brake hoods. So this is something that Michael can do, or he can do something like state of the art right now. In other words, a carbon frame, et cetera, et cetera. So, by the way, the other thing that he does is the touring frames and the touring bikes, correct?
The Randoner is a 650B.
You were telling me that there was a magazine that has been featuring your
Bicycle Quarterly. It's all around the world. And I had a few 650B frames featured there, and the reviews went very well.
Excellent.
This happens to be a sport tour. This is more of a relaxed geometry, which is not really a racing bike, but not really a touring bike. It's in between. You don't see sport tours anymore, like a lot of criterium bikes. Those bikes have
a lot tighter, rear triangle, etc. But the bottom line is that you can actually get anything done. You know, I mean, you can pretty much do anything. And the other thing that we wanted to bring to you is take the mystery out of making a frame. You know, I mean, it's not that mysterious. It's not that complicated. But it's something that very few people actually have elevated it to an art. You know, I mean, now it's become like a mass production thing. You know, they do a mold in carbon, and then they just punch out as many as they possibly can. You know. Now this is still done here as an art, and Michael is doing that, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to bring you, because this is a kind of an art that's getting lost in a bit. You know. So if you're interested in a custom frame, if you're interested in something really traditional, or if you're interested in something custom like this guy who needed a 71 centimeter frame, this is a person that can do it. Again, it's www.terraferma, well, you can see it here, Terraferma, TERRAFERMA cycles.com. So, Michael, thank you very much for explaining all of this to us, and I thank you very much for being here with us, and we'll get back at you. By the way, we're going to Italy in a while, so we'll be coming at you from Italy again with a lot of the new tapes from Italy, from factories. We're planning on visiting quite a few of the factories in Italy and some of the pro riders as well. Thanks again. Inside Pro Cycling TV. See ya.